Welcome to Home Fashion Technologies. In this video, we will be demonstrating how to install an optional header board for the split barn doors kit, which will be required if you did not meet with wood, that is, a stud or a wooden plank, behind the 3 centermost holes of the 5 on the long steel support rail. If that's the case in your situation, this video is for you. Before you begin, you'll need to purchase a quality piece of hardwood and about a dozen wood screws from your local lumberyard or hardware store. Select a 1x4 hardwood, such as pine or oak, as opposed to a softer wood, like cedar, as the screws will tend to become a bit loose in a softer wood over time with regular use, as opposed to a hardwood, which will remain sturdy and reliable for many years to come. The board should be at least as long as the steel rail, or perhaps a couple of inches longer on both ends, whichever you may prefer. In either case, the process remains the same, as we will be centering the rail on the header board both vertically, that is, top to bottom, as well as horizontally, or lengthwise. Purchase about a dozen number 10 Phillips flathead wood screws, 2.5 inches in length, gold or silver, and of higher quality, as when screwing into harder woods, you'll meet with more resistance than with softer woods, which can often result in stripping the heads when using cheaper, lesser quality wood screws. To begin, lay out the long steel rail from your split barn door kit, as well as the header board and the screws you've purchased. You'll also need to gather up some tools, including a stepladder, a 4-foot level, an electric drill, a tape measure, a pencil, a stud finder, and some drill bits, including a 3/16 inch bit for drilling pilot holes for the lag bolts, and a 3/32 inch bit for drilling pilot holes for the wood screws. You'll also need a countersink bit for carving out a bit of the wood on top of each of the pilot holes for the wood screws, so that they will screw in completely and flush with the wood for a neater, more finished look, as well as a Phillips drill bit for all of the wood screws. Now, measure the length of the header board that you've purchased and mark the center point. Do the same for the width of the board, marking it at the center and near both ends. The vertical center point should intersect with the horizontal center point you marked previously. Now, using the steel rail as a straight edge, draw a line connecting the 3 dots. This will be the center line of your header board. Next, place the rail over the line you've drawn on the board so that you can see the intersecting center marks through the center hole, as well as the straight line through all 4 of the other holes clearly. Then, mark all 5 of the holes, fully coloring in all the holes with your pencil. These marks will be used for drilling pilot holes for all 5 of the lag bolts on the rail that will be attached to the header board a bit later. Remove the rail from the header board, then drill all 5 of the holes using the 3/16 inch drill bit. Now, measure the width of the door opening and mark the center point. From there, measure from the floor up 86 1/8 inches and mark that point. This will be the center point for the center lag bolt on the steel rail. Now subtract half the width of the header board from 86 1/8 inches and make a mark below the center point on the wall at that point. Using the level as a straight edge, align the bottom of the level with that mark, ensuring that the level is accurately leveled, then draw a long straight line through that point above the door opening. This will be used for aligning the bottom of the header board. Next, you'll need to locate and mark the location of the studs behind the drywall. Move this stud finder along the wall, starting a couple of feet slightly above and to the left of the door opening on the far left side, and across to the right, again extending about 2 feet to the right of the far right opening of the door. Mark the location of each stud on the horizontal line you drew for aligning the bottom of the header board. As studs are typically spaced about 16 inches apart in most homes built within the past 20 to 30 years, you should find at least 3, if not 4 or even 5, within the distance you've just scanned with your stud finder. With the help of your assistant, now raise the board into position above the door opening, centering it using the marks you'd made previously, and aligning the bottom of the board with the long horizontal line you drew just above the door opening. Now raise the board slightly so you can see the marks you made for each of the stud locations and make a corresponding mark on the header board for each of these. Next, bring down the board in order to drill 2 small pilot holes for each of the stud locations you marked on the header board, one near the top of the board and the other near the bottom of the board, both about 1/2 inch in from the outer edges. Do this for all of the positions that you've marked. Now use the countersink bit to carve out a bit of the wood on top of each of those pilot holes for the wood screws, so that the screws will easily fit flush with the wood. Before raising the header board back into position, you may find it helpful to partially screw in one of the screws at the top centermost position, just enough to have the screw go through the wood but not sticking out very far on the other side, just enough to feel it but allow the wood to lay flat against the wall. Now, with the help of your assistant, raise the board back into position, again centering it both vertically and horizontally. Then continue screwing in the screw at the top center position that you started previously, going completely through the board and drywall and firmly into the stud. Re-level the board, then insert another screw at the bottom of the centermost position and screw in completely through the board, the drywall, and into the same stud. Check again to ensure the board is entirely level, making any slight adjustments as necessary. Then screw in all remaining wood screws in each of the pilot holes to secure the board firmly to the wall. Using the 3/16 inch drill bit, drill deeper through the center hole of the header board as far as the bit will reach. You've now completed the installation of the header board and have a sturdy mount for the support rail. Continue the installation of your split barn door kit, picking up with inserting the center lag bolt through the rail, through the spacer, and into the header board. This concludes our installation of the optional header board for Home Fashion Technologies split barn doors. If you have any questions or comments, please contact us at the email address or phone numbers you see listed here. Thanks again for watching.